Woo! Tom Troung.
Yes, sir.
Back at it again.
I'm back,
Back
baby.
in, baby. We're
I'm
back. We're back. Dude, I had a fun time last time. That was like, what, a couple months ago?
Yeah,
a few months ago.
that was honestly a long podcast, dude.
We did like 2 hours. We'll try to keep it a little bit shorter this time around.
No,
maybe.
screw that.
We'll see where it goes.
We're going to talk about some serious life thoughts.
Well, what you got going right now? This is not the Life Thoughts podcast, although he will be featured on that one too.
I will be on that one too.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah, be ready for that.
What's been happening? It's been a fucking month. Anything crazy?
Yeah. I'm starting a new career, bro. So
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I mean, happy for you. It's sorry, the mic cuts out there, but it's an interesting one.
it is interesting. I'm excited for it. I'm nervous. I'm not gonna lie, I am nervous, but I am very excited. And I think you know me, I'm very ambitious, and I like to take on adversity head on. And I really want to just kick ass in life. And I think with this company, I'm really gonna have the opportunity to really show myself if I can do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those companies that sign you on to one of those do or die situations where you're not a full-on employee, you're an independent contractor, so that's always gives a little fire under your ass. And everyone's different. Everyone prefers what they prefer.
1099, baby.
1099, you get, they have their benefits where like you're an independent contractor, so you can kind of do your own thing. You can work as hard as you want. That's how much you're gonna make. But you don't get health insurance. You don't get any of that. You have to pay all that on your own.
Dude, I'm gonna sell health insurance. I'll just buy my own.
Yeah, dude, sell yourself health insurance. Why not? Be like, Tim Dillon. You know who Tim Dillon is?
No.
Tim Dillon's this comedian who used to sell subprime mortgages back in like before the recession hit, and he sold himself a subprime mortgage, like up to a $600,000 house, and totally just flopped on it. Like did not pay it all that stuff. But
it happens, man.
it does happen. I mean,
happens.
yeah, it's you think it's gonna survive. You think who would have thought that everything would have crashed back in 08? I think it's gonna crash again.
Maybe. I don't know. It's definitely an interesting thing to ponder.
I think it'll happen.
It's got to at some point, right?
I mean, it's got to at some point. You're right.
That's what everybody says. It's like everything. History repeats itself, I think, and sometimes it repeats itself in different ways, but with the same concept. And a lot of, people who study the economy, like they say, like it's gonna happen sooner or later.
Well, it does always go through cycles.
Yeah.
It always is. It's always an up and down cycle. And right now, we were on an upward trend. COVID hit. We're bound to a little bit of a downward trend, and they thought it was going to spiral down, and they pumped money in. So, like, we were on that downward trend, and we pumped money in. And the pumping of the money is not necessarily a fix-all solution. It's like a Band-Aid. It's like, hey, we're just going to cover this up, and we're not going to worry about it.
Yeah.
You get cut out in the woods. You're like, I'm not going to worry about it till later. And then, 3 days later,
some dirt in there.
3 days later, it's infected, and you have to chop your arm off. So
amputation's cool. I know somebody without a leg.
I mean, props to them. I don't know what else to say about that. No, I don't know. I predicted it was going to happen during Trump. I thought it was going to happen during Trump's presidency. I didn't think it mattered who was president. I thought Hillary, Trump, didn't matter. The economy was going to crash halfway in between. It did not. I think that was because Trump made a lot of investors happy. And again, I don't know. It's going to crash. It's going to happen. It's going to crash.
Yeah.
Just not to be pessimistic, but
it's bound to.
It's bound to, and I think the pumping of money in did not help. I think it's going to devaluate the dollar a lot.
Yeah, and like I'm no economist. Like that's a proper word. Correct?
I'm not at all either.
I'm not. I'm really not. I do study the stock market a little bit because I do like to invest some of my extra money into different things. But I think that it's fair to say, like, even though I don't know every aspect of it, I think it's fair to say that we can trust that it's gonna happen eventually.
I mean, okay, yes, it's very easy to say.
Like,
it's very easy to say it's going to happen eventually. I mean, yes, and then eventually it's going to get back up. Like, we could say that all day. I'm talking about how, like, soon it's going to happen.
Yeah.
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 Not like eventually. Eventually, the sun's going to explode. I might not see it, but it's going to happen in a fucking bajillion years.
Says you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a science thing. But, I'm not a scientific expert. Do you trade you just put money in and let it sit? Are you day trading? Are you option trading? What are you doing?
So okay, that's actually kind of a funny question because
Oh, is there? Oh,
well, the thing is, okay, so you know me, I work a lot of hours. You
Yeah.
know, I build up my paychecks as much as I can. I would work overtime, and so essentially, what I do is since I'm in college, you know, I don't have a family, I don't have a house, I don't have a car payment. Like I got none of that shit to worry about. I don't have bills.
right.
You know,
Most
so
college kids don't.
yeah, so like all the money that I get as income over the summer because I don't work during the school year, it's just pretty much spending money, and I spend it how I like. Nobody's gonna tell me different. I like spending money, but so what I usually do is I don't save money. Um, that's a big thing. I know it sounds so dumb, right? But
There's probably a ton of people that don't save money.
like here's the thing, like in college, like I have my parents backing. Like I'm blessed for that, you know? So like if I need extra cash, like my mom's just gonna wire me money. But
At least you're honest.
yeah, and like the thing about it though is like if I want to be able to go spend money, I can go spend money. So when I work, all that money kind of goes towards spending, and how I spend it kind of varies. So I spend a little bit of it on like dumb stuff. Like I paid $40 for a fucking haircut, you know? Like that's what I do. Like I like that. I bought a Gucci I bought a Gucci belt. That's just
what
me.
I do.
That's what I like. But outside of that, I take a part of my paycheck and a part of that goes to different investments, right?
Okay.
And for me, most of that goes to some form of high risk. And I think you know where I'm going with this. It goes to some sort of high risk investment where I can flip a little bit of money
Yeah.
really quick.
Right.
Which I have a funny story about that I gotta tell you about.
I'm in.
But and then I take another percentage of my paycheck and it goes into two different accounts for my stocks, for my investments, my what you would call a smarter way to invest money. Some of that is in Fortune 500 where it's like a longer term where I'm collecting dividends. And then some of that, like I'll just, you know, I'll throw like 150, $200, whatever, on some BS penny stock to see if it flips that day. You know, so really a lot of my investing goes into higher risk because I do get that higher reward knowing at the end of the day that that money that I put into it, I'm really going to just spend on other dumb shit that I don't need.
So you're doing more like you're putting the money in, you're hoping it works out and blah blah. You're not doing like options or day trading.
No, dude. I
I'm surprised you don't do options considering how those are considered could be high risk. I feel like you would like options.
Yeah, I see. That's the thing. I, for some reason, could not get a grip of it.
I have miraculously failed twice on options and lost a good amount of money.
Yeah. So
and I had one where it went up and I was like, all right, cool. And then I didn't know. Same thing. I mean, I was kind of retarded. I didn't know what I was doing with both of them. So.
Well, I tried to learn it. Couldn't figure it out. I tried to learn Forex. Didn't interest me at all. So in reality, I just take my money, put it into something, see what happens for a few weeks, few months, maybe a couple of days or so. So I guess you can call that that is short-term investing.
Yeah.
But you know, part of it is that I know that I don't need that money at the end of the day, right? Because I don't need that money to pay for my bills because I don't have bills.
I mean, that's true. I always look at it though as like you're gonna need that money one day, you know.
Well, yeah,
that money one day.
That's true.
That's why you put it in there and you use it.
But I think one of the good things that I learned when I started getting into stock is that my first investment, I flipped it for 60% over like 6 weeks.
Okay.
Right. So like that's like, you know, that's pretty damn good. You know, most people are shooting for 10, 20%.
Yeah.
And I hit 60%. I did studying on that company. It was MGM, by the way. So I invested in casinos.
Yeah, they were low.
Like while you know they got closed down, I invested in casinos. It was something that I'm passionate about. Casinos is something I'm passionate about. And so I did some research, figured out some different things, and once they opened back up, everything started pumping back into them really quick, right? So I made a decent amount of money off of that. From that money that I made, a lot of that got reinvested into like Fortune 500 indexes, and that was just building a little bit of extra income for me for when I needed extra spending money at school. Outside of that, it was really just a learning process for me because I did take a big hit. I learned that I needed to do a stop loss because one week I had all my positions go up like 50% in the matter of 3 days. And that's huge. And I figured like over the weekend, I'm just everybody was saying sell this, sell this, sell this, And I was like thinking like, I got nothing to lose. I'm just gonna hold on to it, see what happens. What happens on Monday? I get absolutely wrecked, bro. And then all these all these companies are filing for fucking bankruptcy, and I was like, you know what? They're gonna come back. I'm already down so much money. Let's see if they get bailed out. Let's see if they make a huge comeback. They didn't. I lost a lot of money. But a lot of the money that I lost, I made beforehand. So that's one of the big valuable lessons I learned. I took a break during the school year on trading, so I kind of just pulled all my money out, spent it on dumb shit that I didn't need, like always. And I think that for me, I was happier that way because I was able to spend that money and that it wasn't locked up in investments. But I think everybody has a different situation.
I mean, yeah, everyone's different with their approach, how they want to do it, what money they want to use, and everything like that.
Understanding like, okay, what money do I get? What money do I don't get? What can I spend? What can't I spend? Right? So I think that's a big thing. But like going into it, I gamble a shit ton.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody knows
you gamble.
It's not a secret. I gamble. I gamble hard, and so if I walk into the casino and they know me first and last name, and I get VIP,
woo,
high roller. I get casino host. They calculate me to spend over $100,000 a year.
It's ridiculous.
Or in a 6-month period. My bad.
It's even more ridiculous.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. Like I'm a college kid spending more than 5 times my tuition in one semester. My tuition for the year, I'm spending more than 5 times that much.
For those listening on audio, this is ridiculous. Yeah. I'm shaking my head as we speak.
So, it's definitely fun though. I have a good time with it. Like I don't go out to the bars. I don't go party. I don't drink.
I mean,
that's my form of entertainment money.
And I would say that is a big difference. So it's just like you're not doing all those things. If you were drinking and going out every weekend and going out to eat, yada yada, that's where like it's gonna get really expensive because you're doing that and you're gambling on top of it. Which I get what you're saying is you're like, I don't do any of that shit. Like I use my money to go gamble.
Exactly.
And like with me, I go out and I put my money, like I save some money, but I go out every once in a while and I eat out a lot. I eat out way more than I should.
Yeah, see, I cook.
Yeah, I'm actually getting into cooking. Which we'll get into that, but like,
So like, I mean, like, think about how much you spend on a festival in a week.
Oh, I mean, in a week.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, let's say you go to a festival, right?
Yeah.
How much are you spending? Like,
I usually with like depending on the
parking, camping, whatever the fuck you pay for.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, and that's my vice, right? Which I don't have it right now. So you know how much money I'm saving. Woo! I'm saving a lot because there's none of that shit happening. But yeah, I mean it does get expensive. And same thing like you're saying. Like I always plan for that shit. I would in college and I worked fucking 35, 40-hour weeks plus school. And I would save up my money for those trips. And first off, the way I do trips, I don't look at my bank account. I'm going. My trip is my trip. I don't worry about money. I don't look at my bank account. I come home. I go, ooh, maybe I spent more than I thought I did. But I have this number in my head that I'm going to spend, but I don't look at my bank account. Because if I go over, it's not a big deal because I've saved up enough to where I can go over and yada, yada. And I've done that for every vacation thus far. I mean, I just don't look. I save up for that shit.
Exactly.
And that's the way I think to do it because you don't worry about anything while you're gone. Mm-hmm. And same thing, like you go to the casino, you don't worry about what you're dropping that night because you've been saving up for it. And
yeah,
I mean, there is a lesson in that because like you are saving to do what you want to do versus like it's just spending money with no
Yeah.
regard, and that's way better than anyone else than people that are spending money for no regard. Like, cause I don't know, just I mean, you see people buying stupid shit and stuff like that, and
Oh yeah, dude.
I mean, don't get me wrong,
like
I
when
buy shit
stimulus
too.
checks came out, that was ridiculous. That was absolutely
That
ridiculous.
made no sense.
No, dude, look, when the stimulus checks came out, right, and everybody was filing for unemployment.
Yeah.
Like, I got screwed on that shit for sure. There's no doubt about it. I got screwed on unemployment. But here's the thing. A lot of people who, and I'm not saying, like, I'm not the kind of person to judge somebody based on their looks, but but honestly, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I did, because, you know, I'm at International Plaza, okay, and I had to wait to get into the Gucci store, and the people that were in front of me were clearly like they had families, and like they shouldn't be in there spending $600 on a belt when they could be paying their rent, right? And the thing is,
yeah.
the thing
I
is,
like how you're judging them in the line of the Gucci store when
Yeah.
you're going into the Gucci store.
okay, but that's the thing. I had the money that, you know, that was disposable. It's expendable money for me.
Yeah.
Right.
I
So
get
that's
what
my
you're saying.
spending money. I just didn't go to the casino that week, and I spent $600 on a Gucci belt. All right, big whoop, done. I now have a Gucci belt. Cool. I'll just
I could never. I just
I'll
could
just
not
save up
freak-
some more money and then go gamble again next week. If you know, but the thing is, like, the difference between somebody who gambles and somebody who goes and invests at the casino, I think there's a huge difference. That there's like some sort of stereotype that anybody who goes to the casino is a gambler, right? The thing is,
Generally, yes. I agree with that.
generally, yes. The thing is, there is a handful of people who go in and they actually study the numbers. They understand the money aspect of it, right? They understand their investment. So one of the things for me is like, okay, I set myself a limit, obviously. I study on what I play, what I do. I study the numbers, and I study my profits. So essentially, I set myself a goal. If I make that goal, I make it, right? If I don't make that goal, fuck it.
So if you make the goal, do you go home or do you keep playing?
Usually I will go home, yes.
Okay, that's where most people differ too, is that most people don't have the willpower to legit go home when they're up,
Yeah.
which is where the casinos get you, because
Exactly.
like you keep riding that high and then you lose. Whereas like if you do go up and you just leave, you're done. You've won.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you gotta think, dude, like at the casino, like I don't know about everybody else. I know like at the Hard Rock, like the most table mins are like $15. Anywhere between 15 and 25.
I say I think they're 25 for
Yeah.
weekends and
So
stuff like that.
yeah, so but like that's a big casino, you know. My casino was a small casino in a college town where the tables are $5 minimums, right? So a lot of people could go in with $100, and you know, you can have a good time with $100 at the casino there.
I think if I was in a college town where the minimums were $5, I would myself go more than not.
That's what I was,
If
you know,
if
like,
I'm being really honest, I think
it's
with $5 minimums, that's
$100.
not bad at all.
yeah, and then you get relatively cheap drinks depending on the casino.
Sometimes they're free.
Yeah, sometimes they're free. You get perks with
Hard
it.
Rock's
so
free.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so the only reason
Which is why it's more expensive, I think.
I didn't know that, because at the Hard Rock, I play in the high limit room. I only play in the high limit room, right? So when you play in the high limit room, anything you want is free.
Okay.
So that's the cool thing about it, right? So I go play high limit. I'm betting like at least $50 a hand. Like you're looking $50 to $200 is my range in the high limit room.
And you're doing blackjack, you're talking about.
No,
people know.
I'm playing a different game at the Hard Rock. I'm playing Baccarat.
Okay.
So, you know, but the thing is, you do get all those free things, and for someone like me, like the comp is pretty good. Like at my casino up at school, you know, my comp is really good. I've never walked into that casino and paid for a meal. You know, I get free hotel rooms. I get treated like royalty in there. Like it's, you know, because they don't have a lot of college kids going in there spending a couple $1,000s a night.
No, but they have adults and stuff that do that. But you do understand that they do that because most of the time they're making more money off of you than you're getting.
Yeah, but what happens when you are making money and still getting those perks? Because at the end of the day, if you make money
But
or
the question
if
is,
you
are
lose
you
money,
up on the year? Like that's what it comes down to. Is
I have to get my report. So at the end of the year, I get a report for taxes. You know, so at the end of the year, I get a report. Over the last 4 years, though, from 2016 till this past year, so I guess 2016 to 2019.
Okay.
So technically 3 years.
Okay.
I am up. I'm not up like a significant amount or anything. You know, like it might be like a couple $1,000.
Okay.
But in the long run, I'm able to spend time and make money.
But it's 3 years. You've only made a couple $1,000.
Yeah, but it's my form of entertainment. So,
Okay.
like,
True.
I'm,
True.
you know,
I forgot. I do. Yeah.
I'm getting paid to go and have a good time, right? Because the thing with the casino is that I think here's where people get fucked up the most at the casino.
Okay.
Is that everybody that tends to walk in there has some sort of emotional attachment to the paper that's in their wallet. Okay. So I think one of the biggest things to learn if you want to be that sort of I don't want to say investor, like an advantage gambler, I guess. Like somebody who's going to make money.
Okay.
Is that you have to lose that emotional attachment to your money. I think that's hands down where I see people screw up the most, right? I see a lot of people go in, sit down at my table with $200 and they're down $150. So now they only have $50 to gamble with, but like it's literally just eating them inside out, right? And I can drop $1,000 as a college kid and say, look, if I lose $1,000, I'll just come back and get it back next week. Like that's the kind of person that I am, you know, like that's the ambition that I have when I go play. And I don't have that emotional attachment to my money. But part of that is because I don't have those expenses that a lot of the other people have, you know. If you're renting an apartment and you got to pay $900 a month for that apartment and you just lost $200 of your income for the month.
Yeah, you're cutting it
like,
close.
Now you're cutting it close. Like $200 is paying for groceries for probably a week, 2 weeks for your family. Like a family of 4, you can probably have groceries for 2 weeks for $200.
Yeah, I could see that.
You know, so like essentially, for a lot of people, losing that $200 is losing nutrition for their family for 2 weeks, right? For me, it's just losing $200, and I think that's where that emotional attachment comes in. That I know that like when I study the game and when I study the numbers and I come up with my strategies, is that I have faith in my own strategy to where I don't have to have that emotional attachment to my money, to where like I know like okay, if I go every 10 times I go, right? If I go 10 times, I'm winning 7 out of 10 times. So at the end of the day, if I bring the same amount of money every time and I keep my profit limit and I keep my spending limit, that if I go 10 times, I'm making money more times than not. Does that make sense?
I mean, kind of. I mean, you know me. I'm not one of the gambler. I'm not super into it. I go here and there. I have a good time when I do go, and I've gone positive. I don't go that much, so I don't even know. But no, I mean, you've got your way of doing it, and again, it's not like you're doing it and you're wasting your money. You're kind of doing it as a form of entertainment, like you said.
Yeah.
That's the only way I could justify it is if like you're saying like that's your form of entertainment, just as like me going to festivals or music shit is my form of entertainment. And I spend money there and I lose money there. You might lose money here because it's just entertainment and you don't care. Like, I get what you're saying when it's that. I wouldn't call it an investment, though. I wouldn't. That's definitely not in my forte. I wouldn't ever call it that. I would call it what you're calling it is entertainment and leave it at that. Because I think, I mean, the reasons they pay for all the free stuff and everything is because they have their numbers and they run their numbers. They know they're making more money off of you than you're making off of them.
I mean, you got to think about it, bro. Out of every 10 people, there's maybe one person who actually knows what they're doing, who actually understands the statistics.
I understand that there's statistics to it, but I'm telling you that the odds are not in your favor.
They're not.
Yeah.
I know they're not.
Okay. That's why everything's free.
They're set up that way.
Of course they are, because they know they're going to make more money off of you in the long run, no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can go 20 years, they're going to still make more money off of you.
Yeah.
Unless you really, really strike big.
And even if they don't, they're making money off the other fucking 50 people that isn't you.
I mean, okay, we could argue that.
You know,
we could
so
argue that.
so
I
even if out of every 50 people, one person wins and the other 49 lose, like they're still gonna make money.
yeah, that's the odds
'Cause
right there. Okay, I'll give you that. That's true. That's
There's
true.
no
That's
way
true.
that me myself is making more money than what everybody else is losing.
No, I agree. I get what you're saying there. I didn't think about it that way. Yes, they do value in the statistics of like, yes, one or two people can be winners, whereas the other 48 are losers. Yeah,
You
absolutely.
have to. It's a business. You have to. You have to understand that there's variance in statistics, and that out of the 50 people, somebody's gonna win.
I mean, there are a business, but they're a different. They're. I wouldn't categorize them as like. I don't know how to describe what I'm trying to say here, but like, there's businesses and then there's casinos. It's like there's a big difference in the two. Yes, they are a business, but
they're not. They're really not spending money. Let's be honest.
whereas like in a business, there's like a win-win-win type of scenario. The customers are winning because they're getting a product they want. The business is winning because they're getting money, and then you're winning because you have a job.
Yeah.
Whereas like casinos, it's really like win-lose. There's no in between. There's no everybody wins. Like they don't win if you win.
Yeah.
If you win, they've lost. So like,
well, they're winning every time.
My point exactly. So it's very hard for. It's like they're such a unique, weird type of business that's like got this illegal hold in certain areas and stuff. I mean, it's all like they're legal because they can make revenue and they can get taxed from the government and yada yada yada.
Yeah.
There's another way for the government to make some money.
But I think it works out pretty well. Like for me personally, this semester I really didn't play that much.
Were you depressed? Were you sad?
No, actually I wasn't. I was not gonna lie, dude.
I'm poking fun at you.
I was in a really good spot in my life. I was really happy with what was going on. I had a lot of things that were going really well for me, and like, not that the casino wasn't one of the things that was going well for me, because I made like, I think I made like $6K my first week there. My first week back in Michigan.
Okay.
I made like $6,000.
Yeah, I'd quit after that.
Right.
I'd never gone back. That'll last me the whole semester.
Yeah, it would last anybody the whole semester. The thing is, like, other things got brought into my life, and like I was really happy with what I had. And this is kind of where that funny story comes in, because
Let's hear it.
Part of my thoughts is that, okay, look, if I go to the casino in a week, right?
Okay.
And I lose all my money, or whatever that I can lose, that means I probably don't have that much money that week, right? It's pretty obvious. If I spend a shit ton of money in 1 week, I'm probably not gonna have that much money at the end of the week.
Okay.
The thing is,
I can get on board with that.
So what I noticed is that once I stopped going to the casino, right, I was still spending just as much money, but without the possibility of making any of that back, right? So a lot of times when I was going to the casino, yeah, there were days I was losing, but there was also days where at the end of the week I had thousands of dollars in my wallet. Okay, and then like the next week I might not have as much money, but when I stopped going to the casino, the money just kept going down and it never got brought back up. So it was just like
I
something.
love your justification
So,
for that. You
but,
need
like,
to go to gambling because you're gonna spend that money regardless.
Yeah, but like, I know it sounds like absolutely ridiculous, but
It does.
but it was something that I noticed. But the thing is, the money I was spending during that time was like, it was money that made a difference in not only like my life but other people's lives. And so like one of the things I was doing was, I don't know if you knew this, but I served as a president for my fraternity this past semester. And one of the things is like I wanted to build camaraderie between the guys. So I would go buy a shit ton of food on Sundays. I'd cook for 8-9 hours throughout the day, and we would have a huge family meal together.
Chef Tom. Okay, no, I did not know that. What were you cooking up? That took 8-9 hours.
Well, it just depended. You know, like I'm cooking for 30 people by myself.
I didn't understand that. Like, what was it?
Dude, just depending on what I felt like making, dude. Like sometimes I
Like
made
pig roast, pot roast.
Yeah,
you just
yeah, I
cooking
mean,
up
like,
chicken
I
on the
made
grill, lasagna.
I
like
made
what?
some like smoked wings. I made like chili and shit. It was just different things every week. I would ask people what they wanted. Originally, the idea was everybody pitches in $5 for Sunday meal, and everybody eats. And it got to the point where I was like, okay, if you want to help me out with like $5, that's cool. If not, if you can't, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. Like, I have the money. Like, don't worry about it. And so one of the things was like, okay, I'm building this camaraderie between my fraternity brothers, you know? And part of that was like I was getting that satisfaction that I didn't feel like I wanted to go to the casino, right? I was spending my time doing things that I loved because I love cooking. I'm not sure if you knew that.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so like huge into cooking. So like I was spending a lot of time cooking, and then I got to spend good time with my brothers, you know. And part of the pandemic was that like in reality, a lot of people are fucking depressed.
Oh yeah,
because nobody could do
sure.
shit, right? And so part of that was to keep everybody's spirits up and want them, like, you want to help them be more motivated in finishing the semester, right? Like,
yeah.
Whatever it was, whether it was like if you wanted a fucking hug that day, like I'll sit there and I'll hug you, like that
brotherly love.
But like I would have done that. Like I don't care if it was the guys in my fraternity or if it was some random chick on the side of the road, you know, or like another fraternity. Like I know a lot of people on campus, and I wanted to be there for people. And one of the things is like being there for people was really giving me that satisfaction where like the money that I was spending on doing things like that and like going out, or not necessarily going out, but like going out and buying groceries and stuff, like that money didn't matter to me at that point, you know, because I was spending it on like
you're spending on others, you were doing good with it, sort of kind of thing. I get what you're saying.
It wasn't for myself.
I mean, there's a certain level of spending that, you know, with anything, like when you give to charity, when you're doing stuff, there's always a good feel good feeling that comes from any of that. Let's swing in here to go to the talking about your fraternity brothers and stuff like that. I'm curious how. I always get curious about. I'm curious about fraternity life. I personally not a part of it. Didn't do any of it. I had friends that were big into it, and I mean, I could go to some of the houses, yada yada, and it was fine. But what is it that like was appealing of it to you?
So I didn't realize this at first. I thought I think everybody has a stereotype on Greek life. It's like,
yeah, for sure.
All right, sororities are filled with these rich white chicks, right? And then fraternities are filled with these rich dudes whose dads make a shit ton of money.
And I would tell you that at the big schools, absolutely, that's exactly what it's like. I would say there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
It might be like that at the big schools. I didn't go to big schools, so for my experience in Greek life was a lot different than I would say a lot of people. But at first, like I was thinking, like, all right, I already spent a shit ton of time over here. You know, like I hang out with other people, I get along well with everybody there, and like they wanted me to join what they had. And part of it was really like, okay, I get to go to these parties and I don't have to wait. I don't have to fucking wait in line ever again. You know?
That's like the main reason I think most of these kids do it is they want to get.
Yeah,
it's like they force friendships to get you into the party. I wouldn't say force friendships, but I mean, a lot of the times that is kind of how it goes.
I think it depends where you're at, but yeah, I feel like a lot of times it is some sort of a forced friendship.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're somebody who's not good at making friends,
it's perfect.
I think it's perfect for you.
It is.
It's definitely perfect for you, especially
Absolutely.
And I know a lot of girls that are like that, where they're very like shy and they're not out there like talking to people. And of course, unless they're drunk, of course they all come out when they're drunk. Yeah. But like they did that with a sorority, and it gave them a sense of home and like for girls to hang out with and yada yada. Which like again, that's like a good positive to it. I mean, there's all sorts of. You can go back and forth forever on the positive negatives of them.
I think that with that though, I think like what you're saying, where like if you're really not that social butterfly, which I think I am a social butterfly, but
spread your wings and fly there, Tommy.
Yeah, but no, if you're not, I definitely think it's a good way to connect with people.
Yeah.
But actually, one of the crazy things that like I realized, and this is like I didn't realize this until really the start of my interview process, right? Like I didn't realize I picked up on these skills of like leadership and teamwork and camaraderie and and I'm not saying like I'm the greatest leader out there, you know, like I'm not saying that like I'm the best
brother ever.
Yeah, like I'm not saying that, but I learned a lot from it. Like I learned how to respect others. I learned how to be an honorable man,
Okay.
and a lot of it was like, okay,
You do not think of normally people do not think of fraternity brother an honorable man
yeah,
in the same sentence. But
yeah,
I'm curious. Please go on with that.
yeah. So part of like what we do is like we really had a bad rep, bro. Like my freshman year, it was bad.
Okay.
Like at my fraternity, I wasn't part of it. I've only been part of it for 3 terms, so 3 semesters. So I haven't been part of the game for long, right? And like I guess like depending on where you're at and like the school that you're at, I think a lot of times you really can't say that the fraternity men are honorable men. And no offense to like anybody that that's at FSU and is in Sigma Chi or whatever, but
not to call anyone out on the podcast,
but
but if you're at fraternity,
well, I'm not from FSU.
no,
so
I know you're not. But I get what you're saying, and I think that's very notable. Like that's pretty true. I mean, frats have this rep of being like
assholes.
Yeah, douchebags, assholes, whatever you want to call them. And you know what? There are a lot of guys in them that absolutely are, and there are specific fraternities that are exactly like that. I mean, like I know.
Yeah.
Let's put it this. I know guys that like were in the fraternities, and I knew them in college, and then I would see them outside of college, like now, like working full time, and it's like not they're the exact same douchebag. Like it's like they're still living this fraternity life in the workforce, and it's like they just act the same exact way. I don't know how to explain it, and I'm sure there's people out there that you guys could think of, like listening, that you could think of that are like, oh yeah, that person's exactly like that.
But
and it's like the frat life is just carried on into the work. I had met these kids. I gotta take a tangent here.
Right.
I gotta take a. This is a funny story for me. So I was interviewing I had a couple job offers when I was getting out of college, and I went to shadow a day of work at this one company. I will not name the company. Just not gonna name anything because I don't want to talk about who these kids are. So I'm talking to these kids, these 2 guys. I'm shadowing them, and they're like, "Oh, where you go to school and all yada yada." I'm telling them, "Yeah, I go Florida State," and they're like, "Oh, we went to Florida State," and I'm like, "Oh, just shit." Okay.
Oh yeah.
So they start asking me questions. Frat, yada yada yada. I'm like, no. And instantly, I knew first off from the get go they had that about them. And
do
of course,
I have that about me?
You didn't used to. Maybe you do not.
Maybe. I don't know. I think it's because I wear my letters a lot.
That's exactly it.
I think that's because I wear my letters. I really don't dress the part.
And you just talk so serious.
You think so?
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. I gotta be a more fun guy. No, dude. I've like really okay.
wait. We're going off on a tangent. I want to finish this story.
Okay, finish your story.
These fucking guys are telling me, and they're like, "Oh, we were in this frat and yada yada yada," and I'm like, "Fantastic, congratulations." Then they're telling me like, "Oh, I'm like, "Oh, I'm graduating this semester. Oh, you're getting out early," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm getting out early." Like, dog, just take another semester. Just you're gonna miss it. And then the rest of the fucking time, I'm like 45 minutes go by where I'm with these guys shadowing their job. And they're just boys. And they're just talking about like how much they miss it and how much they miss college and this and that and the bar and I miss the frat and blah blah blah. And I'm like, the whole time I'm like, you guys are working full time, you're making good money, and all you're talking about is how you miss your fraternity.
You miss being broke.
You miss your fucking. I don't know how to describe it. I can't relate to that, but it just did not turn me on to the job. I fucking left that place. I didn't call them back. I just left. They were like, "How are you doing? What are you thinking?" I was like, "Not coming," because I don't want like I don't understand how
you don't want that stigma.
Not necessarily that, but I'm like, how you're in the real world now. I get it. You had a great time in college, and we can talk about it, and you can reminisce about it. But like, there's more to it than just your fraternity.
Well,
like, how are you a year into working? You're making a full time like a man's salary, and you're telling me like, oh, I just miss my fraternity.
Well,
like, what are you talking about? Get some goddamn money. Go out on a weekend. Go to the strip club. I don't care. But you're working. You have money to do shit now. Go do shit. Like.
Yeah, well, it's a different chapter of life, and I feel like some people don't recognize that.
I get stuck in it.
Right?
And it's like, I don't know, just to me personally, I just don't relate to that. I'm like, how are you, like, I just looked at them and I was like, is this what this job does? It makes you reminisce about college? Because I don't want that. I want to make money and go do shit with my money.
Yeah. Well, I think, like, the way you're like explaining it to me, that story is like those guys have that emotional connection to the experience that they had with their fraternity.
I just think they were getting laid more back then. Now they can't get laid 'cause they're
Probably.
fucking losers.
Honestly, probably. But
That's what it is.
part of
That's definitely what it is.
No, well,
Oh, I can't drink on a Tuesday. No, motherfucker, you still can drink on a Tuesday. There's no limit. There's no rule that says you can't drink on a Tuesday because you work at 9 to 5 now.
Yeah, just wake up.
I mean, look at like the bartending life. Like people that are bartenders, they live that shit. They're out there every night.
Yeah.
They go to they close the bar. They go to a bar that's open later than their bar.
Yeah, and
or they close their restaurant and then they go out and drink and then they wake up and do the same thing. Like that's a you want to live that party life? Go fucking live the party life. It's still there. It's still very apparent.
I don't drink or go to bars, but I fully support bartenders because I know that's a shitty job.
Oh, it's a very shitty and tough job.
I know it's a shitty job. So
tip your people well.
This is for the bartenders. I love you.
You heard it here first. But no, it is. It's a tough gig. I mean, the bartending scene in general is very tough. It can really draw you in. It can really get you sucked into like.
Yeah, you got to do it. Assholes like you.
Me? Yeah, absolutely. All the time. I'm a huge asshole at the bar. I'm not. But my point is like it is difficult, and that's something like they talk about like the bartender scene and like the working scene, like that whole scene is like there's a lot of people that like are working while they're drugged up or drinking, like, and there's a lot of alcoholics and like and you can make really good money doing it.
It's
I'm
also
definitely
shitty
not
hours.
It's shitty hours. You can make really good money, and I forgot where I was going with that. Holy shit! I totally forgot where I was going.
I don't know where you're going with
No, it's just like it's hard. It can draw you in. You can get sucked in. You can definitely go down a path you don't want to. I mean, I know friends that like make good money, but then they go out drinking every night.
Yeah.
And they spend all that money they make. They literally live like paycheck to paycheck because they get off and then they go out with their friends, which not like more power to you. That's fine. But just don't complain about that if you choose that lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm broke all the time. Well, yeah, because you spend $200. You make $200 and you spend $150 that night.
Yeah.
Because you want to go out on a Tuesday. I've gone out on Tuesday before too, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. I think
it's a lifestyle. It's like a lifestyle. It is. I can't relate to it. More power to everybody that can. I think it's hard. It's difficult. I'm somebody that likes my money and I like to keep my money so I can grow my money and then I can go out when I want and not have to worry about it. But like to eat shit, for 30 years, I just couldn't do that.
Well, like part of it, I feel like I don't know. I used to work in hospitality.
I did,
and
I might go back.
And well, here's the thing. Like, I did kind of enjoy it. Like I like being there for people. I like helping people. But I think deep down, anybody that's listening to this that knows me knows that I'm kind of an asshole because. But okay, here's the thing. You're not letting me finish.
I'm kind of
You're not letting me finish.
I don't have to let you finish.
But part of
we're gonna end it right now
because of me being an asshole is that like I'm just like brutally honest, right? I have no filter.
Yeah,
like I'm gonna give it to you straight up.
And that's needed though in today's fake society.
It is. You guys are all fake.
It's needed. Yeah, it's needed.
Screw you guys. You're fake.
I mean, well, you also get to a point where like you personally, I don't know about you, but me personally, like there was a point where I decided I'm not giving people the fluff they want to hear anymore. I call it fluff. The shit that's like, hey, it's gonna be okay.
I never have.
I think it's gonna be great. Yada yada. Well, because I had people tell me that like shit's like shitty. I'm not gonna go into specifics, but like there were a time in life where shit was shitty, and it's like, all right, it's fucking shitty, and I fucking hate this. And then people are like, "The dog, it'll be okay." That's all you have to fucking say? Like, like no shit, it's gonna be okay. But what are you gonna do to help me get out of it now? Like, give me something like, dog, fucking. Like I would rather someone look at me dead in the eyes and go, "Stop acting like a fucking bitch. Like, get your shit together. Put your boots on. Get to fucking work and do your shit and stop complaining." Like, fucking yell at me. All right, cool. Now I know like I'm being a little bitch and I'm fucking in my feelings, which is fine to do that. But like, I'm not letting me alive or eat you alive. So I just got to a point where I was like, that doesn't like the fluff shit of like it's gonna be okay and yada yada doesn't do shit for me. It didn't do shit for me.
It doesn't do shit for anybody.
So I was like, it can't. If it yeah.
It really doesn't.
No, and that's why I was like, I'm gonna start. And that's when I started losing friends and losing people because like some people don't want to hear the real shit. They don't want to hear the
Hey,
real
good
shit.
thing we've been friends for like 8 years, right?
Yeah, and that's why we're not fucking losers. We're just talking real.
Yeah, and I think that part of today's society is that people want that kind of comfort, and like, so I did go through a phase where like I wouldn't necessarily say that I was depressed, but like my life didn't feel that great at the time, and like it wasn't like that long of a period. Like it just like shit just like wasn't working out right.
I mean, I think everyone goes through shit like
yeah, and
I think everyone goes through
so
shit like that.
the thing is like I totally understand like if you have depression, anxiety, like I feel for you. I'm not gonna like I feel for you, but I'm also not gonna be that guy who's gonna sit down, let you cry, and tell you that shit's gonna be okay. Like I'm gonna tell you like, all right, look, you fucked up here, and that's why it's causing this.
Oh my gosh, that's the biggest thing. Yes, 100% yes. It's like we've talked about this before, like accountability. There's so little accountability sometimes with people where they get in these situations, and the next thing you know, they're sad and depressed about a situation because it didn't work out in their favor, and it's like, look at what you did. They don't ever look at what they're just like start complaining about. Oh, I didn't get this, I didn't get that, and it's like, do not see the stepping stones that got you to this point. It's like it's crazy to me.
Absolutely, and I think that like sometimes, part of that is being able to step back and seeing like, okay, here's how this happened, here's why it happened, how do I fix it, right?
Yeah.
And I think like we talked about it a little bit before we started here is, I just started my interview process not too long ago. It's been probably about 2 months that I started applying. And the thing is like I was really confident in myself because I was getting a lot of companies that were reaching out to me and asking me to come interview and asking me to apply. And then I got turned down after I did like fucking 7 interviews with the first company. I got turned down. And I'm like, it's so crazy. I'm like, look, I just talked to fucking 12 different people in 17 different fucking states, and like it was absolutely ridiculous where like I got turned down, and it really pissed me off. And given like it was like a really short period of time that I actually got my offer, which happened yesterday, and then I signed today with this company. But part of it was like I'm like, am I really not good enough for these mediocre companies? Like, because I didn't see them as these high level executive companies. I didn't see them as like I'm going in and I'm gonna make 6 figures in the next 3 years, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't something that I was seeing, and I was thinking like, how am I not qualified enough for these companies? Like they're asking for entry level jobs. It's an entry level position. Literally, they're asking for people who might have a high school diploma, and I'm like, this is bullshit. Like, I guess this sounds kind of bad, but I went to 4.5 years of college, right? I'm graduating with my bachelor's in sports medicine. Like, so when you look at my resume and see how diverse the jobs that I've done in the last 6 years of my life, how are you going to sit there and tell me that I can't learn this shit, Like, I did everything from I did graphic design for my first job, and I did this past semester, I did event coordination, right? And I did everything in between.
I think it's corporate America can be oddly, as nice as it is and yada yada, it can also be oddly retarded when it comes to, and I will use that word, I don't care what channel I get, but they have these moments where it's like, yeah, they don't think that you can learn, or they've got that, they give that mentality off of like, you're set in stone with this and you have to do this and you can't learn something else that you want to learn.
Yeah.
And that's another thing with people in general, not even just the companies, but like it's also like a very tough mindset for people to grasp, is like at any age you can learn something. Like you want to stop and quit what you're doing and do something else, like you can. I mean, obviously, granted, you want to have the resources to do that and all that, and you might have to eat shit and do a job you don't like in order to learn the other stuff on the side and then switch. Like, that's part of it, but there's no reason you can't learn it, especially nowadays with the internet. I mean, the internet, you can just learn anything.
And I think like one of the big things that kind of connects with that is like it's effort, right? Like I know I've talked to a lot of people, and like they say like, okay, well, we don't care what your college degree is, and we really just want you to have a college degree because we know that you can learn something. Well, the thing is, like, the companies I was applying for and interviewing with, they're like, the first question they asked me in the interview was like, oh, why are you pre-med but you want to get into sales? I'm like, all right, I'm a personable person. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy being around people, and like given
Yeah.
it's not that I don't want to do sports medicine, because like obviously like I chose as my major, but there's a reason why I chose as my major and I got out of business, and like they didn't like that, and I'm like, all right, well that's bullshit because like I'm pre-med, like why can't I learn sales? Why can't I
Yeah.
learn marketing?
You know, one of the big things that someone had told me, and it was too late for me, I'd already graduated, but someone that said that to me was, one of the few things I wish I did differently was get a different, like, I think he got a sales degree or something. He was like,
Yeah.
I wish I got a degree in something else because anyone can do sales. We can teach anybody to sell.
Yeah.
And anyone, I mean, obviously some people have more confidence than others, and some people have more pizzazz and flirtiness and yada, 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 which that all can be learned as well and boosted up. But you can teach anybody sales, essentially. And he was saying that and saying how he wished he had done a different degree in order to have just a different background and learn something different, and then went into sales. And like so you're doing now, and that's golden. That's perfect. You have your degree to fall back on if you want to do a job in that field, or you can get selling experience and move into a sales role. It's like you can do both.
Yeah. And I think that like anybody who has a hard time choosing their degree, in reality, and this is part of what I noticed during my interview process, was like, in reality, bro, do whatever major is gonna make you actually want to do the work in class, right? Like
That's also huge. Makes it so much easier when you love your major.
And I think that's the big thing. Is like, I didn't enjoy fucking microeconomics.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I don't blame you.
But I enjoyed nutrition. I enjoyed exercise science. And so part of that was like really just making my college experience better for myself. And I think that one of the big things that I realized is like, involve yourself in different things on campus, right? Like join some clubs, like join Greek Life. I know we kind of bagged on it, or you kind of bagged on it a little bit, but like
I give it a little tough love here and there.
Like join Greek Life, or like just diversify your assets, right? Like show employers that you're able to do a lot of different things, and that you can put that stuff in your background, because at the end of the day, the more you invest your time into your own education, the better off you're gonna be in the long run, right? Regardless of like whatever fucking bullshit job, you can be a doctor and have literally zero personality and only be good at cutting bodies open, And it's like okay, you can
working in the morgue.
Yeah, but like here's the thing.
Just cutting bodies open, baby. Woo!
And I'm not bagging on doctors, right? But you can help save lives.
Yeah.
All right. But what can you do outside of that? So like for me, I really don't know if I'm gonna be able to do sales all that well. But here's the thing. If I'm able to do sales and I want to change my career path, right? I have that background where like, okay, if I want to go work a fucking blue collar job, which I did for the last 2 years, right?
Yeah.
That I have that experience under my belt that I can go in and say, look, like I did this for 2 years while I was in college, and I want to change my career path. I want to do more labor because I like working outside. I like working hard. Whatever the hell you like, is that you want that diversity on your resume. And I think like for me, like if I was in a management position, I would really look more towards what people did outside of that, outside of school. Like, okay,
they do look at all that. They do.
They do, but like
diversify your resume.
How much do they weigh on that? Like for me, it's like, okay, you want somebody who works hard, who's able to learn, who can be coachable. Like I played fucking college football for 4 years. Dude, you can tell me I can't work hard, I can't be coachable? Like, I mean, you're lying to yourself if you think that.
No, I agree with that. I mean, and I think A big thing that people don't like to talk about is it does come down to the interviews. I mean, your resume could look fantastic,
Yeah.
but if you butcher an interview, you're not going to get the job. I mean,
Absolutely.
I would say one of my stronger suits would be interviewing. I don't know. I look at interviewing, and my tips for interviewing is like, this is a time for you to be able to brag about yourself in the best way possible. Obviously, you can't come across as cocky and yada yada, but like you can very much. This is your time to talk about it, and then you learn that wording to position your things that they like. They might ask you, "What is tell me about this time there," and you just tell them about it. But you can position the way you want to say it to make it look like you've learned something. Like, for instance, we had the company that we ran for like 2.5 years, like Truck Militia. Do you know about that?
Oh,
We used to run this truck company.
I took the sticker off my truck, by
and
the way.
it's fine. We don't do it anymore. It's all gone. But we used to do this like truck company that we had, and we just did it for like 2 years in college. We didn't really go anywhere with it. We just stopped doing it. And but I put it on my resume, dead ass, for like the last 2 years. I finally just took it off. But I had it on there for the first couple jobs, and people would ask me like, "Oh, what is this? Like, tell me about this." And I would just tell them like, "Listen, I put it on there because like, it wasn't necessarily a full-on success. Obviously, I wouldn't be interviewing for a job if it was a success. I'd be working on my own. But like, I did learn a lot during that time and taught me about this, this, and this. And I just positioned how that kind of, even though it was like a failure, helped me grow to do this, this, and this. And they look at that and they're like, "Oh, holy shit! Like this kid fucking learned this, blah blah blah." Like I don't know, just tricks like that, or you explain to them. It's just your time to talk about you in the best way possible, not in a cocky way, but in a way of like, this is how, this is why this is on my resume. This is what I learned from it. This is what I'm taking with it as I go to do your job, type of stuff.
And like for me, one of the things that's on my resume, so I was really like kind of when I think every company's first question is like, okay, tell me about yourself, right? So what I did, I would break it into two different things that I was involved in. So obviously your academics. So I talked about academics first, and then I talked about my life outside of academics, right?
Yeah.
So I talked about like, okay, fraternity, football, whatever.
I go gambling every day.
Okay, I didn't say that, but like part of it was being able to work like different things on like really twisting on how you make it sound. Exactly. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So like we talked about like that negative stereotype to Greek life, right? So like if I put that I was the fraternity president in my resume, right?
Yeah.
Which you should have. Which I think I should. Absolutely, because it's a leadership position. It's something that it's part of your social life. It's something that you did, and something that I'd hope that if you're in Greek life, you learn something about yourself, something about others, and that I had to be able to tell these people that like, look, Greek life is not just a crock of shit, right? There's something more to Greek life than what people see from the outside.
I would say if you have a higher up position in Greek life, for instance, what you had said, like a president or something like that, then it's okay to put it. I'd be cautious putting it on there too much, just because, like, I mean, look, it's got the rep, and most people know the rep. And I'm not saying like a president isn't about, like, I think that's probably the best position to have in the fraternity, because you do have to plan shit. You can do it to plan philanthropy events, all that stuff, yada yada yada. And you should put all those down. But yeah, I would say if you're not in a higher up position, there's like no point in putting.
Look, dude, if you're in college right now and you're about to start looking for work and you're in a fraternity and you're the fucking secretary chair, don't put that on your resume. I'm telling you right now, because we all know secretaries are crock of shit. I'm looking at you guys right in the eyes right now, that if you're the fucking secretary chair of your fraternity, do not put that shit on your resume, because we all know all you're doing is taking notes during meetings.
Yeah.
You're not even setting up the meeting.
It's a fucking bullshit job. The fuck out of here.
But actually, I did love my secretary. He did a wonderful job.
The fuck out of here with that bullshit. I don't give a fuck.
My secretary did awesome. Shout out to you, Shrive. Love you, buddy.
Trump would fire him. He's gone.
Yeah, but no, like you're right though. If you do take like a big leadership position, or like if you're in charge of like a set group of people, so I think like I don't know what FSU fraternities are like, but mine at the end of the semester only had 29 active members, which is not a lot at all. But we also only have like 1,200 kids on campus, so 5 fraternities, 29. You're probably averaging about 30 per fraternity, depending on the fraternity, of course. But it's not a very high percentage of people. So like part of my Greek life experience was a lot different than I would say most people, because like we're a tight knit group. Like our house is 7 rooms. There's 15 people that live there. Anybody else who's affiliated, 7 rooms,
And 15 people live there.
and 15 people
So y'all
live there.
bunking together.
Yeah, so we bunk together, and like anybody else who's affiliated,
sucks.
anybody else who's affiliated just lives on campus like
Yeah.
normal. But like I know, like I've seen like the frat houses at like MSU and stuff, and like that's a whole ass dorm. Like I mean, like I
Yep.
hate to say this, but I don't want to have 300 active members in my fraternity.
I don't know how many they have. I don't think it's 300. I think 100-ish
Oh
or
yeah,
so.
I don't even want that.
But I got you. I
Like-
get what you're saying.
Like
You want to know everybody.
yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like I want to know you all the way down to your last pube.
Okay. That's too much for me to handle, but yeah.
But like, like
I get what you mean.
I joke
get what
around,
you
but
mean.
like, it's like at the end of the day, like I don't want to be spending all this time with somebody I don't know, or somebody I don't enjoy, or somebody I don't trust for that matter, right?
Yeah.
So, it's huge in that aspect of being able to be around each other
Mm-hmm.
and being able to work through differences. And I think that's a huge thing that you also learn in being in Greek life, being exposed to, that group of people where you are expected to be tight knit, and it might not always happen. So you have to learn how to make that happen sometimes. And that's not really necessarily changing the way you act or your personality, because always be your own person.
Be your own person.
But, it is part of like, okay, working out differences. I think, Jacob, you know a little bit about that. I think it's huge. I think that's a huge life lesson, is that you need to be able to work out differences with other people to make this world go around, but without being too fluffy.
Yeah, I mean,
Right?
yeah, you can't be too fluffy about
can't
it.
be
But
too
yeah, you
fluffy,
got to be
yeah.
able to work out differences.
Yeah.
You got to be able to come. I mean, there should be, in every scenario, you should be able to come together and make a decision. I mean,
Yeah.
there should never be a scenario where it's like a win-all. Like, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Like, it's so stupid to me, this whole left versus right bullshit. It's like, just fucking talk. Like, there's going to be stuff you guys agree on somewhere in the middle. I think, I don't want to get too into politics, but it's very polarizing that we have two parties. Like, what the fuck? Like, I have to identify with one of these fuckers.
Actually, we have more than 2 parties, Jacob.
I mean, I'm all for libertarians. I'm all for all that shit. But there's only 2 main parties. And unfortunately, that's the way it's going right now. I'm all for a third party. As a matter of fact, I'm a very big advocate for third parties because we need a
Yeah,
third party
me
because it's
too.
tearing us fucking apart.
I think so too, dude. I love a third party. I think
Did you vote for third party?
I did not vote third party.
Did you get? Don't love them that much. Anyways.
Okay, all right, listen. Here's, bro, the way that the voting system is that, like, let's be honest, we all know a third party's never going to win that shit, right?
They don't need to win. They need 5% to get into the debates. That's all that matters.
Really? I didn't know
They
that.
need a 5%
Okay,
of the vote to
so-
get into the debates. I'm pretty positive on that. I shouldn't
So,
be saying that if I
yeah.
don't know 100%.
Here's-
And I don't know 100%,
okay.
but I'm very
But
positive.
here's the
that.
thing. On the slim chance that happens, it's probably not happening. So,
If
the
5%
thing is, like-
of America voted, first off, not even all America votes, but if 5% of the voting class voted for a third party, they'd get into debates the next presidential election.
Yeah.
Which is fucking huge because then it's no longer Democrat versus Senate, versus Republican. It's all 3.
yeah, and I think that would be super sweet. But I think that'd be in, like, the perfect world that would happen, but that wouldn't happen. So,
in a perfect
like,
world,
in
there
reality,
would be no arguing in general.
yeah,
So
but like in reality, I know it's not gonna happen, and I'm gonna sound like a dumbass for saying this, but it almost feels like your vote doesn't count at that point,
and I
because,
completely disagree. Yeah, it's okay.
But like I have like a really weird gray area where, like, okay, if I'm gonna have to choose between A or B, I'm just gonna choose between A or B. I'm not gonna choose C because I know that, like, that's such a slim chance of happening.
Here's the thing. It's very, if both, it's retarded, and I'm gonna use that word again because I'm gonna go fuck. If both parties are coming at you and saying you're gonna vote this, you might as well throw your vote away. That's obviously not the case because it's pissing off both parties that you're voting third party. So your vote is counting, and it's significant because you're taking away from both of these main parties that are juggernauts in the system that think they can run it all forever. It's total bullshit for anyone to say you're throwing your vote away because, oh, I'm throwing my vote away. Is it pissing you off that I'm voting third party? Yes, it is. Okay, and I'm pissing off the other side too. If it didn't matter, they wouldn't care.
Yeah,
but they do care that you're voting third party because it scares them that it could possibly happen. And I think it's growing more and more. I mean, I think she got like 1.5 to 2% of the vote this election. Yeah. That's a lot bigger than she used to ever get. Or a libertarian used to ever get. I think their running mate was a female this year. But my point is like they only need 5%. I think they got maybe 2 or a little bit under 2. And that's significant because it's slowly showing these two parties that, for starters, Republican or Democrat, they don't give a fuck about you. Like, they don't. They just don't. I don't care what you say. They don't. They're more into their special interests or more money than themselves. But if you're wanting to stick it to them and show them that you're tired of this bullshit that continuously happens, it's voting third party that's going to do that. Because right now they haven't come up with any other way to allow us to do that. What am I going to do? Stick it to the man by voting for one side? I mean, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I totally understand what you're saying. And part of it is I realize that I am kind of a dumbass for thinking that, because in reality, it is pretty dumb that I feel that way. But part of it is that I don't see the change, right? I just can't vision the change. So for part of it is why I would just choose the best candidate between the two. And I know some people are probably gonna give me shit for that. I really don't care. I could care less about anybody else's opinion. I'm a fucking independent man.
I mean, I would say I'm in the minority here, but
yeah.
Good.
But I just think that if I can't see it happening, I want to make sure that even if it's that case where this year everybody was saying okay, it's who we're picking the better out of the two shits.
We were, right? Absolutely, no doubt about it.
There's two piles of dog shit is what everybody's saying.
100%.
And you just gotta pick the one that doesn't smell as bad or the one that has more nutrition.
It's retarded.
However
the one that has more nutrition.
So at the end of the day, that's kind of what it came down to for me. That's just how it is. Maybe one day it's gonna change. Maybe next election I'll vote third party. Who knows? We'll see how it goes.
And more and more people. I want more people on that third party train. That's my goal.
Yeah, that means we need a lot of people listening to this.
Unless each party can put up somebody that's remarkably okay.
Yeah.
Because I think both of these, for the last two elections, I think both candidates that were up for grabs were just downright stupid. I hated both of them in both elections.
I think a lot of people agree with that.
Yeah, right. But a lot of people don't do anything about it. They just sit there and look.
Yeah.
Which
I mean, for us, I don't think we're such a small percentage, and we're literally just fucking recent graduates, and for us, I don't think we really can do anything about it. But I'm not saying that I can't do anything about it. I feel maybe one day I'd be able to do something about it. But at the same time, realistically, can I do something about it tomorrow? No.
No, not tomorrow. In 3 years, in the next election, 4 years, when the next election comes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Tom, I think I'm gonna end it on that note here.
We're gonna end it on politics?
Yep, we're gonna end it on that.
All right, dude. Oh, wait, we gotta talk about one more thing. I gotta stop being so serious.
Yeah, this was a very serious podcast. It's okay, we'll do a funny one too.
Well, I'm just saying, you said, in general, I talk more serious now.
You seem very serious right now.
Yeah, I think that's just part of, the last...
Growing up?
Yeah, the last, 2 or 3 years of my life.
I mean, I get that too.
I used to be so fun, dude.
No, I agree. I've felt that about myself recently. I felt I'm so serious all of a sudden. I'm like, what the fuck am I so serious?
I want to be an adult, bro.
I want to be a fun adult. I don't think I want to be serious anymore. This is why am I taking this so serious? Why am I supposed to be so serious? I'm living my life. Shouldn't I be having fun? I'm
just trying to get that middle-aged haircut, dad bod, driving a minivan. So
no, I know. I want to go back. I want to have fun. No, I want to be less serious about this shit too.
Mr. Frat Bros living their college lives.
I'm not living in the past. Let me make that very clear. There's a big difference between, oh my God, you should stay another year. I wish I could go back. I don't wish I could go back. I've done it. I'm past it. I'm making money now. But it's like, I have noticed that about myself where I'm gotten very serious. I've noticed it in the podcast where like my energy is like low and I'm talking,
Yeah.
yes, that's interesting. I think this and that. And I can still be like that, but bring energy to it and be fun and yada yada. I feel like I've been taking things so serious lately that it's like,
I
getting to me.
say next time we start off our conversation with strippers.
I think we just rip a line of coke and just go ahead.
Yeah, I can't do that.
I can't either.
And
I have a job I have to report
I
to.
won't do that.
Just kidding, guys. Just joking.
But we can talk about strippers next time.
Yeah, we can do that.
To start.
Why not?
I don't see why not. Can we bring a stripper in?
We could bring a stripper in. I have stripper friends we could interview.
Really?
Yeah, I would love to know more about that profession. I actually really, really funny you say that. I really want to get like one of the girls that's on OnlyFans on and talk about that.
Oh, dude.
Because some of them make very serious money and they represent the podcast to an extreme. They are living themselves for every day.
Lana Rhodes, if you ever see this, please contact Jacob.
I listened to a podcast the other day with
I think Lana Rhodes was
that
on
girl
Call Her
Riley
Daddy.
Reid.
Yeah.
Oh, is that who that is? That was on Call Her Daddy?
I think so.
The Tara.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it did. If I think she was on Call Her Daddy. I don't remember.
Oh, I think she was a past, but they just put some new girl up that's like.
Oh, really?
Who is? I don't know who this girl is, but she's talking nuts.
If she's on Call Her Daddy, I think we're like you're. No offense, buddy, but you're just a little too small.
A little too small podcast skill. Yeah.
I
would love to get some people on that eventually. I mean, the whole podcast is, as you know, is people live yourself every day life.
Yeah.
That's what I want. We're interviewing anybody and everybody.
It's about life. Dude, let's get a homeless guy.
We'll see about that one. All right. Break it up. Break it on that one.
Have a good one,
All right,
guys.
everybody. Thank you, everybody. Peace.